Hey guys, Alex and Dan from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who. Last time around we had The Poison Sky.
That was a continuation of the Sontaran stratagem. The Sontarans were essentially going to take over Earth and poison it in order to clone themselves.
Yeah, they needed a new clone world, so they were basically using the Atmos systems to terraform the planet, and they were going to wipe out all the humans anyway, so...
And the Doctor was onto Martha's clone. Don't remember a whole lot of that. This was opening week of Death Trap, so I'm exhausted. But I do remember at the end, the Doctor thought he had to sacrifice himself in order to stop the Sontarans, but the tech bro Radigan managed to switch himself out, and he blew up the Sontarans.
Yeah. Because the Doctor could have put the device on a delay, but he had to go and give the Sontarans a choice to stand down and not be killed, but the Sontarans weren't going to do that, so Luke instead sacrificed himself instead of the Doctor, so... And then at the end...
Martha accidentally got kidnapped because she was saying goodbye to the Doctor when the TARDIS took off.
Yeah, the TARDIS acted up, started moving on its own, and took Martha with them, so... So this is part 2.5 of the story. This really doesn't have anything to do with the previous stories, except that we still have Martha. Okay. So,
and it's called The Doctor's Daughter. So after, 30-something years now? Or are we right at 30 years? We're going to finally find out the first Doctor had a daughter who then had his granddaughter who then traveled with him in 1963?
No.
Why not?
Also, I think at this point we're on 45 years within Doctor Who. So...
But only like season 30-something.
Yeah, it's season like 28 or something. 26, yeah. 27, 28, something like that. So, but no, I'll just go ahead and quash that theory that you have. No, we will learn nothing more about the first Doctor.
Well...
So... funny enough, that's actually a current topic of debate right now. Granted, by the time this goes up, I guess we'll have seen whether or not it happened. But in the newest season, there are rumors. Are we going to finally learn about the first Doctor's life before Doctor Who started? Honestly, I kind of hope not, because it's almost funny that that's just the one thing they never talk about. So they will talk about stuff after, they will talk about stuff before that happens even, but they will never talk about what the first Doctor's life was like on Gallifrey. So
why he stole the TARDIS,
yeah,
and his granddaughter.
I mean, they'll talk about that a little bit, but like just his family life, they'll never really discuss.
And didn't the third Doctor talk about lying on a hillside with a good friend?
There was a bit of that where like. There was the old hermit on the mountain, and the Doctor, as a young man, went to him to seek advice, and eventually that hermit came back in a third Doctor episode. So that's basically it. Like, we get little snippets of that, like, or we'll hear like, the Doctor, was childhood friends with the Master and the Rani and stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. It took them a while to bring that up, but here we are. So, but yeah, so it's just little bits like that, and none of that has anything to do with today's episode. So,
okay.
So, is there anything else?
I got nothing. I'm exhausted.
We don't have to discuss, Catholicism or something else for 10 minutes before we get started.
No, we'll probably get into something afterwards.
Probably. So. With that said, let's just go ahead and jump right into this episode of Doctor Who.
Where did she come from?
From me.
From you? How? Who is she?
Well, she's my daughter.
Hello, Dad.
Okay. Mazel tov. You want to know the funny thing? That's his wife.
Oh.
This is how they met.
Georgia?
Yeah. Which means she is also the daughter of the Doctor. Just not this one. About 5 doctors back.
This is a new species we haven't seen before.
Well,
Hurry up through the tunnel! Get the detonator! I'm on detonating enemy!
no, Martha.
It don't make sense, you two. No guns, no marks, no fight in you. I'm taking you to General Cobb. Now move.
Poor Martha. All she's done since coming back is getting kidnapped.
But she's more than just a doctor now. She's a resistance fighter.
Keep still. Still, yeah? No move.
Even the TARDIS can't translate that.
Now then, I'm Dr. Martha Jones. Who the hell are you?
Yeah, good job,
TARDIS
Martha.
is right there behind her, though.
Don't know, it's not gonna
Maybe she
sound-
didn't have a key anymore.
Well, if you don't know that,
But the TARDIS should be able to translate for her, shouldn't it?
had to fight.
How do you translate gurgles? Out of curiosity.
They stole a tissue sample at gunpoint and processed it. It's not what I call natural parenting.
Rubbish. My friend Neris fathered twins using a turkey baster. Don't worry.
I extrapolate a relationship from a biological accident.
Child support agency can.
Look, just because I share certain physiological traits with simian primates doesn't make me a monkey's uncle, does it?
I'm not a monkey. Or a child.
Yeah, but you weren't even born yesterday.
And I'm Jenny.
Don't think you can infect us with your peacemaking. We're committed to the fight, to the very end.
He looks very
I'll stay
familiar.
anyway.
Yeah.
Even if I'm a friend.
They're doing the exact same thing. Alright, you guys make a compelling argument.
And you're the one who showed us the path to victory. But you can consider the irony from your prison cell. Klein and arms.
Oi, call the beans, Rambo.
Take them. We won't have them spreading treason. And if you try anything, Doctor, I'll see that your woman dies first.
We're not a couple.
Meh.
This way.
I think I just started a war.
Good job, Martha. It's not your fault, though.
Something that's become a myth. A piece of technology. A weapon.
So the source could be a weapon, and we've just given directions to Captain Nut's job.
Oh, yes.
Not good, is it?
That's why we need to get out of here. Find Martha and stop Cobb from slaughtering the hat. What are you staring at?
You keep insisting you're not a soldier. But look at you, drawing up strategies like a proper general.
No, I'm trying to stop the fighting.
Isn't every soldier?
Well, I suppose, but that's...
We're trying to stop it without more fighting.
The door to the temple, to the source, and to victory!
He was
Come the dawn,
young
we march!
John in The Lion in Winter. I'm pretty sure of it.
We're getting ready to move out. We have to get past that.
Oh, I've got nothing better to do.
No, you're not
See if I
going
can look it up.
You belong here with...
She's got 2 hearts.
Come here.
Pure-blooded Time Lord.
Exactly.
Lion in the Winter, yes.
Holy crap.
What do you call
50 years later, and I remember that.
What's a Time Lord? I have to find my friends. Come on then.
Oh, she made a friend.
Let me distract this one. I have picked up a few womanly wiles over the years.
Let's save your wiles for later. Case of emergency.
Why does he have that?
He has everything in his pockets.
Yeah.
him not clobber him.
Well, it worked, didn't it?
He's not dead.
You can stay down here and live your whole life in the shadows, or come with me and stand in the open air. Feel the wind on your face. What's it gonna be?
The radiated wind.
Nothing's gonna stop me.
Radioactive tornadoes, perhaps?
Eh. Ah, yes, the beauty of the outside world. Wow. It sure is something.
Always thinking, both of you. Who are you people?
I told you I'm the doctor.
The doctor. That's it. That's all he ever says. So you don't have a name either? Are you an anomaly too?
No.
Oh, come on, you're the most anomalous bloke I've ever met.
Here it is.
He made himself an anomaly.
What are they for exactly? He saves planets, rescues civilizations, defeats terrible creatures, and runs a lot. Seriously, there's an outrageous amount of running involved.
Eh.
Watch and learn, Father.
Oh, you're a hero.
You've got dad shock.
Dad shock.
Sudden, unexpected fatherhood. Take a bit of getting used to.
No, it's not that. Donna, I've been a father before.
What?
Lost all that a long time ago. Longer than everything else.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
When I look at her now, I can see them. The hole they left, all the pain that filled it. Just don't know if I can face that every day.
It won't stay like that. She'll help you. We both will.
When they died, that part of me died with them. It's like the numbers in the tunnels.
No, but listen. I spent 6 months working as a temp in Hounslow Library, and I mastered the Dewey Decimal System in 2 days flat. I'm good with numbers. It's staring us in the face. What is? It's the date. Assuming the first 2 numbers are some big old space date, then you've got year, month, day. It's the other way around, like it is in America.
Oh, it's the new Byzantine calendar.
Eh.
The codes are completion dates for each section.
Yes. Oh, good work, Donna.
Yeah, but you're still not getting it. The first number I saw back there was 60120717. We'll look at the date today.
0724. No.
They said generations. And if they're all like you, and they're products of those machines...
They could have 20 generations in a day. Each generation gets killed in the war passes on the legend. Oh, Donna, you're a genius.
Well, the buildings, the encampments, they're in ruins.
Well, they're not ruined, they're just empty. Waiting to be populated. Oh, they've mythologized their entire history. The source must be part of that too. Come on!
It's been a very long week.
No more fighting. No more killing. I'm the doctor, and I declare this war is over.
What's happening?
The gases will escape and trigger the terraforming process.
What does that mean?
It means a new world.
No!
You're my daughter. And we've only just got started. You're gonna be great. You're gonna be more than great. You're gonna be amazing. You hear me, Jenny?
There's no regeneration. She's like you, but maybe not enough.
No. Too much. That's the truth, babe.
So happens she's only mostly
too
like
much,
you.
don't I never would. Have you got that? I never would. Jenny was the reason for the TARDIS bringing us here. Just got here too soon. Which then created Jenny in the first place.
Good job, TARDIS.
Paradox.
I can't do this anymore. You'll be the same one day.
Not me. Never. How could I ever go back to normal life after seeing all this?
That's what they all say.
Hello, boys.
Also happened she was only mostly dead.
Planets to save, civilizations to rescue, creatures to defeat. And an awful lot of running to do.
Is this supposed to be a spin-off? Oh. Okay. Before I forget, A Lion in Winter, where he was young John, had Peter O'Toole as King Henry II, had, oh, for God's sake, Eleanor Aquitaine. I'm seeing her face clearly. I'll come back to her. Young Richard II, or Richard I, who had become Richard the Lionhearted, Anthony Hopkins, probably about 25 years old. I would swear Timothy Dalton was in it, but I don't remember that for sure. He may have been Geoffrey, which would have been the brother between Richard and John. Katharine Hepburn was Eleanor. Brilliant film. And many, many, many years ago, on stage, I got to play Henry II. So, all right. Tell me this. Does she ever come back?
No.
Okay. So,
No. In fact, I think that might have been a last-minute change to the episode. I think they were originally just going to leave her dead, and I don't know, maybe last second RTD wrote that in, that, it's too depressing to just leave her dead, so she goes off, but no. Jenny never comes back.
Okay. The resurrection was very similar to The Search for Spock. Remember where he had been killed by the radiation in Star Trek II, but then because he was put onto the regenerating terraforming planet, his body regenerated, and they just needed to put his, was it Ka? Something like that, back into him. So, so there's that little bit of throwback to Wrath of Khan and Search for Spock. Really good episode. Very interesting. I kind of figured out about the third time Donna started doing the dates. I went, wait a minute. Wasn't she like an accountant, or didn't she? She was doing something, I remember, with the accounting firm when we first met her. So I thought she's using this to figure out what the numbers actually mean. Doing the Dewey Decimal System in 2 days is a bit of a stretch, but, you know. Yeah, very interesting episode. Let's see. So she would be Georgia Davidson.
I think actually she was Georgia Moffat, but no relation to the other Moffat that writes for the show. But yeah, and then she got married to David Tennant. I think she already had kids at that point, so he became a stepdad to them. So yeah, but it was this episode where they met. So where she played his daughter, despite being the daughter of 5th Doctor Peter Davison, and then going on to marry the 10th Doctor. It's this whole convoluted mess. But
well, there was obvious chemistry between them.
Yeah.
And again, not an incredibly complicated plot. Again, the one thing that sticks out is everything leading up to this has always said that the TARDIS translates, and I can't understand why it wouldn't translate for Martha. Since she had been a companion, and she was actually standing next to it.
I suppose it's entirely possible that the TARDIS did translate what the Hath were saying. However, whatever the Hath were saying was then lost in translation going through the water filter on their faces. Therefore, she couldn't understand it.
Okay.
So in a cosmic sort of way, the TARDIS was translating, but... You know, I didn't think about this the first time I watched it, but this is a very interesting episode to put right after the Sontaran two-parter, because that was all about soldiers and how the Santarans are the greatest soldiers and dealing with UNIT and the colonel, trying to be soldier first and trying to fight the enemy and stuff, and then to go immediately into this episode where the Doctor is now basically given a daughter who is all soldier all the time, and if anything, just sort of highlights how much of a soldier he is, which is interesting. So I like that. It works out. Like, I pretty much didn't remember that, and I didn't really think of that connection. The only connection I think of between this and the last 2 episodes is the fact that Martha's there too. So
now, again, this is one of those things that if we wanted to get nitpicky about, the whole regeneration process has only been going on for a week. Yeah, but if you got 20 generations each day, yes, you're seriously going back thousands of years. However, how is it that any of these people are old?
Yeah, so I'm assuming then that, because I kind of thought like, okay, well maybe General Cobb, he's just been around a little while longer, but then I thought, but that doesn't make sense. He wouldn't have the time to grow old, and they don't have this accelerated aging. They just start from this already fully matured point. So the only thing I can think is they had one old guy or just one old person on this ship, and every time they cloned from that person's lineage, it just came out with another old person.
That's basically what I was kind of thinking there. But again, the original project manager died. They couldn't figure out who to replace him with. That's when the faction started. But what happened to that original group? I mean, in 7 days...
I guess what they're saying is that the original crew of the ship landed, started creating clones, or started creating the children, and it just systematically, every single one of them died off in sequence, to where now both the humans and the Hath, none of them are originals by hundreds of generations.
So again, a couple of minor things, but overall, again, very enjoyable. But again, it's a pretty, I don't want to say it's a standard kind of story, but it's, you've got people, it kind of reminded me of a Star Trek original series where the 2 planets had been going to war for 400 years, and it had gotten to the point where rather than actually bombing each other and killing each other, they simply said, this target on planet A has been decimated, so all people living in this target area must proceed to the disintegration chambers, and everybody goes in because they said, hey, that's what we do. That keeps us from having to actually. And then Kirk comes in and blows up the machine, and basically they start to arm themselves with real missiles, and he says, you got a chance here. You either go to the negotiating table and stop the war, or you're all going to die and your cities will be destroyed. So again, a lot of Star Trek background to this. That's not to say that it doesn't improve on it or anything. It's a good episode. It's just it's kind of standard.
Yeah.
Except for the Doctor's daughter.
Yeah, it's certainly an episode that they could have made in the 70s in 4 parts, and it's just put them in a hall, get some, create some alien thing, get some fake guns. This all could have worked as a 3rd Doctor story, honestly. So,
now the other thing is Georgia Davidson Moffat Tennant an actual gymnast? Because if that was actually her doing the somersaulting through the lasers, that would be very impressive.
I have no idea. So, I don't know. Could have been a stunt person. We didn't really see close-ups. We didn't really see her face as she was doing that. So, but it's interesting, just having this as a highlight of. I guess maybe that's one thing is if you tried to do this in classic Doctor Who, you might kind of lose part of the point of showing how much of a soldier the Doctor really is. And because it's interesting, because it's for a guy who just says, I just travel, I just go around, I see interesting stuff, that's it. And it's like, well, okay, but you clearly don't do that, because every episode is you getting into some sort of trouble wherever you go. And it's definitely a thing of okay, so, but you are a soldier, but he's not a soldier, but he is. It's just like this constant. I mean, he is, but he doesn't want to be a soldier. But he's just so good at it.
Two things here. He's never told Donna how old he is.
Right.
Don't think he ever told Martha. Probably never told... Well, maybe he did tell.
He kind
Rose.
of told Rose.
Yeah. So, they have no idea. They see him as a young man, and so they assume that he's just that old.
Yeah.
So that would have helped clarify if he had said, what you don't understand is I'm, 900 years old. But the other thing is, going all the way back to Eccleston, we're now in 4 seasons of New Who.
Mm-hmm.
They're building up to the Time War. All right, he keeps talking about it. Both of them talk about it and how it affected them. And yet we still got 5 years to go before the 50th anniversary, right? Is this a literal 10-year plan that when they restarted New Who, they said, over the course of the next 10 years, we're going to try to build up to Day of the Doctor?
I don't think so. I think it's just that became such a... because it was a huge part of the Ninth Doctor's characterization. And because he, bowed out so quickly, it then had to carry over to the 10th Doctor. Now he is, in all purpose, at least one regeneration removed. At this point, they hadn't thought of the War Doctor or anything. It was just the 9th Doctor, potentially the 8th Doctor, fought in the Time War. That's all they assumed at this point. So he's one regeneration removed from that. It's still weighing on him heavily. And then I think it really just is because after this season and the 5 special episodes we get at the end of this season, that'll be the end of RTD. He moves on, Stephen Moffat takes over with the 11th Doctor. From there, we pretty much get about 3 seasons with the 11th Doctor before the 50th anniversary hits. I think it's just that going from RTD to Moffat just worked so well. And I mean, he's kind of been on the ground floor in these seasons. He's been a part of that, writing his episodes and everything and understanding the Doctor. And so it wasn't really that this was planned necessarily. It's just that Moffat was probably the perfect choice to take the 50th anniversary and, make it about the Time War. And I mean, there was a complaint from some people that the 50th anniversary focused a bit too much on modern Doctor Who. It's this storyline that's only been present in modern Doctor Who. You really only get modern Doctors. You don't really get classic Doctors that much. And that was a bit of a complaint. I think that's okay because how do you include 11 people at that point? 3 of them were already gone.
But didn't that fan edit take care of that?
Yeah, there were edits that edit in more clips of them.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. But I guess because, and it's only some people that critique the 50th anniversary for that. But yeah, I don't think it was really planned. It's just that the Time War is such an integral part of the Doctor's character now that it just kind of keeps going. And you will see, once we get towards, more of the Chibnall era and then the Shutigawa era, the Time War basically is okay, they're over it now. It's been so long, we don't have to talk about it. And, there's, in the most recent season, there's something that's come up, and I thought, oh, okay, well, we haven't really seen this character since, classic Doctor Who, and it's do you think they were involved in the Time War? And I was like, are they going to bring that up again? It's been 20 years since they've introduced that concept. Yeah. This is 20 years since the first Eccleston season now. Yeah. So, at a point, it's just that this first chunk, basically, of the 9th, 10th, and 11th Doctor are very focused on the Time War being a part of his character. So, because, it's like I said, if you made this episode in the 70s, this could have worked, as, you could kind of bring up the angle of the Doctor being a soldier, and, if you brought that up to, the 3rd Doctor, that could be kind of interesting, how he plays off of that. But it really only works now because we know there is a history with the Time War. There was something, things so terrible that he did. We haven't seen them at this point, but we hear about it. We see it from the intensity that the Doctor has.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then it is also something that, like, with this episode, it's interesting having Martha there, because I thought about it, it's like, you know what, if Martha wasn't here, it would just mean that Donna would be in this situation, I guess, because although I did kind of things like, okay, do you need someone to be with the Hath? And I don't know if you necessarily need someone, because she bonded with one of them and then it died, but I don't know, do you think that was necessary?
Well, to me, the point of that was, whereas the humans turn out, or seem to be the bad guys, even with the Doctor and Donna trying to help them, Martha's humanity lets the Hath see that all humans aren't bad. And so they are more willing to accept, yes, they are going to try to make it to the source when they think Martha has shown them the way. But it's just that, once again, in a conflict between humans and alien species, the humans tend to come off much worse. And again, that's something that goes back to the 40s and 50s science fiction, and that is, we as human beings have to consider our history on this planet. 6,000 years of warfare since civilizations began is not a good representation for us as we head out not only into our own solar system, but hopefully into the galaxy and then on beyond. So, the day the Earth stood still, when the interplanetary policeman arrives and basically says, we've noted that you've now made the leap to nuclear weapons, and if you don't patrol yourself, if you don't clean up your act, then be aware that there are forces outside that will do it for you. So, sort of thing.
Yeah. And, I mean, it is good because, like, with Martha being there, and Martha's connection to the Hath works, then we also get to keep Donna around, which is good, because she obviously can help explain to the Doctor this connection that he has to Jenny. And also, we just get another good Donna moment of figuring out the date, basically. Yeah. So, the fact that this war only took place over 7 days. It would have been funny if, like, they had, like, some mythical person there. It's like, oh, they're older than anyone. They've been here throughout the entire war, and is just one of the original crew members, the only one to survive. They're, like, in a cloak for some reason. It's just like, in a week, have you already gone into crazy cloak wearing? Like, I don't know. That could have been funny, but it works better with the twist that it's only been 7 days. Yeah. So, and it is also interesting. We have the whole thing of the Doctor being a soldier and comparing himself to Jenny and everything. But I do like, at least this does touch on a little bit of the Doctor did have a family. He did have people, and unfortunately they died. And it's interesting seeing him, that turmoil in him, that pretty much every time he looks at Jenny, he sees the family he no longer has. The most is perhaps Susan is still in the 22nd century.
And I'm surprised they didn't bring that up. He could have said, the only one left is my granddaughter, so that Donna could go, wait a minute, how are you old enough to have a granddaughter? And he goes, don't. Some other time I'll explain, or, I'm 900 years old or whatever. But yeah, I was kind of waiting, since this is the first time he seems to have talked about it. I had them, but then didn't he say they're all gone?
Yeah.
But that's the thing, they're not all gone, because he knows that he dropped Susan off, and even though by this time she might have passed away, he can go back in time anytime he wants to while she was still alive.
Oh, yeah. Assuming Susan wasn't dragged into the Time War as well, so we don't know. But it might be interesting if in the future Doctor Who brought up Susan again. It would be interesting, wouldn't it? So,
oh, that's not ominous.
It's not ominous. It's just a fascinating question as I look blankly into the camera. Oh well.
Okay.
That'll be like 3 years from now anyway. So,
right. During Matt Smith.
No. Much later. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. By that point, I guess we'll just be watching Doctor Who together. Just new episodes. I don't know. Maybe. It depends on how many seasons they put out in the next few years.
Yeah.
So, Anywho. The next episode is called The Unicorn and the Wasp.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting episode. And after that, I will go ahead and tell you, is a two-parter. And that will be the one where we will do the experiment. We'll do both episodes at the same time.
Okay.
So, and I guess that's pretty much it. So,
well, now, the next 2 weekends are also show weekends for me, so that would put the two-parter just before we go on vacation, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Technically, I think it'll be a thing of, at the beginning of next episode, I'll say that the next week we're going to take a break, but we're still going to film the next week.
Okay.
It's a complicated thing, okay. But I've figured it out.
You guys probably do not remember always that there's a lag time. We are doing this the third week of March. Third week of May, but it won't go out for another 2 or 3 weeks after we do this.
Yeah, about 2.
Yeah.
So. It's, I mean, it's funny because people did start to realize that we do record these ahead of time during our whole Pope discussion, because by the time that video had come out, he had been Pope for like at least a week and a half.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do record these in advance, mostly because, I mean, we record them technically 1 week in advance for Patreon, but that means it's 2 weeks in advance for YouTube. So if you have the Patreon Early Access tier, which is only $5 over at the Patreon page, links in the description, you also get full length available for that. Then you get that early. So we do have to record these a bit ahead of time. So there will probably... So we'll have next episode, and then we'll have a week off. And then after that, we will do the two-parter in one video. And then, somewhere in there, we're going to try to watch Torchwood, which is impossible. We're still only 2 episodes into the season. We still have 11 more to watch. Just assume, by the way, that we're not going to be getting out the Season 2 discussion in a timely manner. So, we'll try, and then at some point, we'll just tag on the 5 episodes of Season 3 of Torchwood. We'll probably just record those while we're watching Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I have no idea if that will dip into the Matt Smith era or not, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. And there's going to be a week-long trip to California in there.
Yeah. In fact, by the time you're watching this, we're probably already on that trip right now. So, assuming you're watching this on the day that it went out, if you're watching this in the playlist, like weeks, years, decades, or centuries later, then this will have no meaning to you. But if you are watching this centuries or eons later and YouTube still exists for some reason, let us know down in the comments below. We'll be long dead, but I don't know. Maybe we'll still have descendants that can read your comments that you're watching us.
They'll all be clones.
Yeah, it'll be a whole thing. By then, the human species will have probably mutated, but YouTube will still be around. God help us.
With all that being said...
With all of whatever we just said being said, we're Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of our modern Doctor Who reactions, as well as another playlist with every Doctor Who reaction that's on the channel. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.